I think it is clear to believe in the power of ideas.
Fresh thinking to the Manhattan Institute.
Please join me in welcoming Michael Morris.
Thanks for the introduction, and thanks to all of you for being here with us this evening on what I know you all think is a very cold day here in New York City. Those of us in the energy business who are actually selling comfort to our customers are happy to have this kind of weather. And before I left, I did get a report from our team that the 5.2 million customers that we serve throughout 11 states in the United States are all enjoying the lights being on. The issue of electrification of the world economy is clearly one that's well underway. Developed nations continue to grow, continue to change and utilize electricity in manufacturing, in communication, ultimately in transportation, and the developing nations of the world are beginning to do the things that we all did such a long time ago, and that is to electrify their economies, which allow for products to be made so much more effectively, cost-wise, energy consumption-wise. On the stage. Oh, hi, everybody. I can see you in the back row, too. The whole matter of the growth in electricity is one that makes so much sense. It's a higher value product than any of the raw fuels that feed it. But while the world continues to electrify and change that demand cycle, we all face some unique pressures. That is, how can we handle the demand on those fuels, which are finite in many instances? How can we handle the utilization of those fuels, which have the potential, if not done correctly, to impact the global warming challenge that we as a people face? And equally important, and some of the introduction that Larry spoke to about the work that has been done by the Manhattan Institute, by Peter and others, leads us with a question of how do we do it appropriately? How do we see to it that we don't build too much of anything, too little of anything else, and how do we manage the flow of that electricity from its point of origin to its point of consumption? I personally think that a new administration at this particular point in time with a very aggressive plan toward how to change the energy model in this company is a great opportunity for all of us, an opportunity for us to rethink the model, whether it's right or wrong, whether Thomas Edison and George Westinghouse had good ideas or bad ideas, whether we can modernize that grid and make it so much more efficient. We clearly hear from this administration as it's about to take over the reins of the country that they're dedicated to the concept of renewable, cleaner, more secure energy sources. We as a nation have been complaining about energy independence since the second term of Richard Nixon. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, every president has spoken to the tune of we need to be energy independent, and you know and I know that all of those decades past have led us to be more and more dependent on imported energy sources. The other thing that President Nixon did by signing the National Environmental Policy Act and being one of the early movers on the Clean Air Act, which ultimately became legislation later, said that we can do this and have a cleaner environment. So in the 70s to now the 2009 cycle, we have found over every decade the air has gotten cleaner. We as an industry in the electric side of production have addressed the issue of SOx and NOx and mercury, and will ultimately address the issue of carbon as soon as we have a piece of legislation that allows all that to happen. The whole notion of bringing renewables into the portfolio is an excellent idea. President-elect Obama is extremely aggressive on the concept of making full use of wind and solar and biotechnology. And we as an industry, our company in particular, supports that every bit as strongly as the administration does. The issue between what we would all like to do and what we are now able to do is what needs to be tackled. Unless you would all like to move to North Dakota where the wind blows frequently and 10 degrees Fahrenheit would seem tropical, we have to find a way to take that renewable to North Dakota to the load centers that would rather consume that electricity but not necessarily move to North Dakota. No offense to any of you who were born and raised in North Dakota.